All right, there, guys. Looks like we're going to get started with round three fairly soon. This is Chris over at Fire and Dice, and you are catching us for Results May Vary number 21, featuring Josh Sellers. He's playing 5-color humans, and his opponent this round is going to be Trevor Stevens on Abzan Midrange. This is round 3 of 4. And yeah, Josh Sellers is currently 1-1 with the deck. Fell to Esper Control last round, which so he said that the game was not as close as it looked towards the and down the stretch there. And I think to an extent he's probably correct, but it did look very close. But that being said, here he's playing against a mid-range deck, a kind of amalgam of the Rock and then some white, like Lingering Souls and Path to Exile, stuff like that. There's a bunch of different, not strategies, not competing each other with each other necessarily, but a lot of kind of slower, grindier aspects. Like it doesn't grind like the Rock does, because the Rock also does get to play like Dark Confidant, for example. But it does have, like I just mentioned, Lingering Souls and a really powerful removal spell in the form of Path to Exile. So we'll see how kind of that develops for Trevor here. Maybe one of those will line up well against the 5-color humans deck. Lingering Souls it doesn't remove threats from the table for the most part, but it's very good at delaying the game, letting Trevor set up for some of his bigger plays. Maybe he's playing Siege Rhino. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. But for those of you who are watching from your desktop, or even on mobile, although it's a little bit trickier on mobile, you guys can check out what Josh is playing, his full 75 through our stream decker. So just go ahead and click that link. It's right where around Josh is sitting, right underneath his name. And you can click it. You can take a look at his main deck sideboard, etc., and see how that goes for him. So looks like time has been called. I did start the timer, so hopefully it was called. And Josh is going to be. Looks like they're resolving their mulligans. I can't tell who's going first, but looks like we're gonna get a look over here. Josh's hand is Aether Vial, Champion of the Parish, and then some number of other castables. We'll see. And Trevor believes in a mulligan to 6 here. Let's take a look at what this is, see what he's working with. For those of you who have been with us all night, thank you so much for your continued viewership. Just as a reminder, we will be doing this again next Tuesday. In fact, we will be starting the stream even earlier than usual, because Josh, as a competitor in MC London, it does have access to War of the Spark earlier than most other people. So as a streamer event, WotC is letting competitors kind of play a little bit early, get a look and a feel at what the set's going to look like. You get to play with all of War of the Spark in standard constructed if you'd like, or as Josh is going to do, he's actually going to take a look at some of the sealed elements and then maybe play a little bit, and we'll take a look at what that's like. But yeah, so that's going to be happening next week. We will give you guys an update on how that's going to work out, what the schedule for that might look like. But in the meantime, results may vary. This is Josh Sellers and Trevor Stevens. Trevor keeps his 5. Doesn't look super great, but I mean, it's got Lingering Souls and Liliana, so I think he's going to have to keep it. On the other side here, Josh has Cavern of Souls into Aether Vial, so a pretty reasonable start here. Trevor is hoping to draw like a Dark Confidant or something here. No, he draws instead a Inquisition, which could be pretty reasonable as well. So we'll see how that goes. He does have to shock for it. Oh no, it's a Twilight Mire, huh? So he'll be able to cast it if he so chooses. I think he's going to want it. He's going to filter his green mana into double black, or at least black, minimum 1 black. And we're going to get an Inquisition here. So there's some okay ones here. I mean, he's going to want to take this Champion of the Parish, probably. That's going to leave Josh with some awkward plays starting next turn. But instead, Trevor's like, I'm really afraid of this Mantis Rider. It's going to be problematic starting next turn. And then Josh, on the other hand, he has this Champion in hand, and he doesn't even need to play it just yet. But he's debating. Yep, not going to play it just yet. He's going to pass the turn. Looks like he's revealing his hand for both our viewership and for his opponent, just so his opponent doesn't have to write it down. Trevor hits another land. Comes into play tapped, however. So I mean, he's kind of getting there to an extent. I mean, we'll see we'll see how kind of far it gets him. This Liliana could prove pretty good. I mean, Josh's draws have not been super great. He decides to keep his Horizon Canopy around. Looks like it's going to pay off as well because Josh ends up drawing a pretty good one here in Mantis Rider with a backup Phantasmal image as well. So Mantis Rider down. Vile, put this into play. Gonna copy this Mantis Rider. Gonna put another counter on Champion of the Parish, and it's off to the races. This is a attack for 9. Trevor's gonna need to fire off this Path to Exile, I think. No? Oh, that seems dicey. Oh, it's not a Path to Exile. I'm sorry. It's a Lingering Souls, and that's not even that good. Wow, I totally thought that was a Path to Exile. So, there's two ways of looking at this. Trevor could potentially, at least, he could get this tracker down, get some value out of that, but I think he needs to get this Liliana into play. So Liliana, down tick. There we go. So Liliana, down tick, and then bluff the Path to Exile. All right. We're going to lose the Phantasmal image. All right. So now Josh has to decide whether he's going to uptick. He does. So I think he can put the trigger on the stack. Yeah, I think I like this. Okay, so this is, I have not often seen this. We're going to put this trigger on the stack, and he's going to crack his, yeah, exactly. He's gonna crack this Horizon Canopy, and he's going to get an idea of what he wants to do with this Aether Vial. So he's going to tick it up. I think he drew Athalia's Lieutenant, which is pretty good. And he decides to tick it up there because he does have available land, so he doesn't need to necessarily use the vial for it. Yep. Oh no, it's just Thalia, I should say. So Thalia comes down, and now actually Trevor can't even Trevor can't actually respond even if he had the Path to Exile. So I think that was a missed opportunity. If he was gonna, I mean, obviously he doesn't have it. But, you know, yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe that was a little silly to say, but I think so. Trevor's out here is he needs another land just to kind of buy him some time. He draws a Thoughtseize. That's not going to do it. I think he's in a ton of trouble. You know, the tracker last turn wouldn't have even traded necessarily, but at least it's gonna provide a source of card advantage? Question mark? No. Yeah, I think he actually really I think he actually really missed the spot here. So yeah, he's going to go to 4. He's going to cast a Lingering Souls. He can't do any of these things because of Thalia. So yeah, he's just going to be like, yeah, actually you can't cast that, man. Sorry. So Josh takes a pretty quick one there. 1-0 versus Trevor Stevens. Now, Trevor's going to be able to reach into his sideboard, and then yeah, he's going to be able to find a lot of good ones. So Engineered Explosives is pretty sweet. We're going to get to take a look at exactly how he's boarding in. He's got a Damnation. He's got an Anafenza. Knight of Autumn is potentially a come in, but I don't think so. So he brought in 3 cards to make him better in this matchup. So we've got EE, Damnation, minimum. Did not see the rest. Now let's see what so according to Josh's like sideboard guide, there's nothing here that lets him battle against oh no, here we go. Jund and green black. So it's -2 Lieutenant, -2 Malcontent, which in Josh's case it's going to be minus Malcontent and a Fenza, the foremost, and it's going to be +3 Deputy, 1 Dismember. So Josh is probably anticipating some number of like Tarmogoyf or something like that. So Dismember is going to be pretty good against them. But the problem is these cards, these cards are a little bit weaker to, I don't know, actually, maybe this is fine because like the Deputies can hit Planeswalkers, you could also hit Lingering Souls tokens. That's actually very reasonable. So yeah, maybe never mind. This is probably pretty decent. Yeah, okay, all right. I can see the logic here. Josh is going to go ahead and take a look at it just to make sure. He's like, do I like that? And I think the guide is just that. It's a guide. So it's going to come down to like personal taste, like how you feel a particular matchup is working for you. Maybe you have like a little bit of a comfort spot for some of these other cards. Like, for example, Josh, you know, is playing Anafenza the Foremost. Maybe you keep in Anafenza the Foremost just in case. You know, it does tend to eat a little bit of what the Tarmogoyf wants, which is the creatures. So could end up being reasonable. But yeah, for those of you just joining us, or just in general, just for everyone in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate any amount of of support, both to the stream, to our Facebook, any of our social media, etc. My name is Chris. I'm the owner and operator of Fire and Dice, the main streamer. We do stream Magic every Tuesday night. That's going to be what we call Results May Vary, where we take one volunteer and we follow them their tournament for the entire night. So we see the perspective of one deck in one tournament, and I think that's very important for as from a learning perspective. Maybe not so much from like a entertainment perspective, or like from the perspective of like those who want to see like the really wide range of Modern, but really what you get to see is you get to learn what a matchup looks like. So you take one deck and then you see it in 4 different stages, and you get to see like, yeah, I guess this is pretty reasonable against that deck. Maybe you get to see something that you didn't notice before, something of that nature. So yep, that's Results May Vary. We do that every Tuesday night. There are some nights we don't. We'll run King of the Hill instead, which is more kind of like akin to just a normal SCG, for example, just like the winter stays, etc. But we also there are some nights where we're unable to stream for a variety of different reasons, and also we stream every Thursday night. That's gonna be for Smash Brothers though, and that's actually a kind of talk of the town at the moment. I mean, there's a big reveal. Joker as a character is finally getting released tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. But then I guess. Barring that, yeah, we also record on the weekends, especially if we have just like mostly major constructed events. So if you check our YouTube, one of our more recent uploads, which we haven't uploaded Magic in a very long time, but one of our more recent uploads was from a Legacy event in which we had 65 players. That was like 2 weekends ago at this point. Yeah. No, it was this past weekend. No, it was 2 weekends ago. Yeah, 2 weekends ago now, and that was a ton of fun. The coverage was a lot of fun, and the games were sweet. So if you're a fan of Legacy, please check it out at our YouTube /FAD Games. But here we go. We're about to start with Game 2 over here. Josh Sellers versus Trevor Stevens. That was about a 10-minute game, but we have to remember Trevor Stevens did mull to 5 there, and man, it looks like he's considering another mulligan. And I mean, it's. Fair enough to him. If he can't win with this hand, he's got to send it back, right? If he doesn't feel confident in it, and the way it looks like it has a lot of 3 and 4 mana spells, so he's gonna need to find some help. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, this is probably a little too dicey. I have 2 draw steps to hit a land, and if I don't, I am super boned. So I'm gonna ship it back. Josh Sellers decides to keep his 7. An aggressive deck like his, there's a large mix of cards that could kind of send him in a certain direction, make him keep his hand. I mean, like in general, that's just Magic, right? So we'll see how it kind of develops for him. But Trevor here on 6 with a Scry. That's 2 land, 3 land, 4 land, Assassin Trophy. You know what? I think that's a keep. I think you can't get any worse than 4 land spell removal spell, or I'm sorry. Not spell removal spell, but well, yeah, spell removal spell. But like creature is a big deal. So Aether Vial's the start for Josh Sellers once more. Trevor Stevens gonna crack his Verdant Catacombs, fix his mana a little bit. I know he has Forest Swamp in his hand, so he does have. Actually, you know what? If I was Trevor, I actually might have led on the Shock, because then you're able to use the fetch line kind of at your convenience. Not only that, getting 2 clues out of a Tireless Tracker is big money. But that might be a Marsh Flats in his hand, so I could be wrong either way. Ooh, Dark Confidant, the pickup for Trevor. Not exactly what you love to see in the aggressive matchup, but you got to take it. I think you got to do what you got to do. Maybe it's on blocking duty 1 turn, which is fine, but you do get to at least draw a card here. He's going to get 1 card off his Dark Confidant. Does not die on the spot, like it does in most matchups, honestly. And it looks like Josh has got a Meddling Mage here. So he's going to go ahead and flash in probably this Parish. Yeah, Champion of the Parish first. He wants to get as much value out of that as possible. He's going to play a Meddling Mage, and I wonder what it names. And Trevor just getting a double check on what this does. He's like, yeah, it doesn't stop Dark Confidant from doing what he does, so don't worry about that too much. All right, so Josh has named something. Trevor is acknowledging that is a card that could be in my deck. You don't know. I won't tell you. Another counter. I'm sorry, a counter to the start of one of many, perhaps, on this Champion of the Parish. So Dark Confidant gonna reveal a 3. Oof, not the 3 he's looking for. Because a Liliana would be pretty decent here. Actually, I wonder if the meddling mage is actually naming Liliana. That wouldn't be the worst. He could actually be naming Lingering Souls as well. So we'll see. Trevor, I don't know about if this is. I would call this a tight spot, but he's in a spot, and he has to kind of bank that maybe Josh doesn't have any significant plays next turn. We can see from the hand that Josh does have some plays. Namely, he's got Athalia's Lieutenant, so all of his creatures are going to get a mite bigger this upcoming turn, and I think he's going to probably block with this this Confidant. Reflector Mage, the draw for Josh, which is a huge pickup because he's going to be able to play a land. I believe he has it. Yeah, it's a Horizon Canopy. He's going to be able to play a land, followed by. Oh, he has an Unclaimed Territory as well. Play a land, Reflector Mage away this Tireless Tracker, and then put Athalia's Lieutenant into play off his Aether Vial. So this game is probably close to over. This is almost unbeatable. What I want to say. I really hate to call it just so early, but this is really tough to beat. All right. I'll put Athalia's Lieutenant into play. It's going to put 1/1 counters on all of my humans. And Trevor Stevens, just a real unfortunate turn of events. Like, this is a nightmare matchup. Like, this is looking tough. This is a 5/5. This is a 3/3. And Trevor just has to block. I think he has to block the most damage possible because, I mean, if he doesn't, like, this is 5, 6, 7, 8. He goes to 8. I mean, the Bob could not kill him, but basically kill him. I don't think there's the draw. The only draw here that I can see him having is a Damnation. So I think in his instance, he has to save as much of his life total as possible. Move to blocks and then just accept his fate. I think he's also thinking like, well, if I hit double removal spell, like I could be in this game, and I just, I don't think so. I think he has to move to block, and it's gonna have to be the large. I mean, either way, it's a chump. So, oh, what? He just takes the whole thing. So there's Liliana. Ay, ay, ay. 5, 6, 7, 8. So he's at 8. Goes to 5. Does he find Damnation? It does not look like he does. Lingering Souls is going to run a little bit of interference. It'll block the two biggest things on the table, and then Dark Confidant can walk under another one. But yeah, just not a lot going well for Steven here. And I think even that Liliana is not going to be enough. It would have to be Liliana plus removal spell, and I think even that's not enough. I don't know what this meddling mage is naming. To be honest, it could be anything. I'm trying to get someone to report. Oops. Whoops. There we go. Okay, cool. So we got a Lingering Souls here. Put two dudes into play. See where that gets us. I mean, it might be pretty decent. So it is naming Liliana the Veil, which was exactly poor Trevor. Which is exactly Trevor's draw. Yeah, and he hasn't even really been able to deploy this removal spell, which is just like so brutal. Josh is slightly gassed out. He has a redraw with this Horizon Canopy, which, is something. And he doesn't really need to like press the issue in particular at the moment. Like again, like this is a fairly good board state for him. He doesn't need to advance it too much. Although I think he grabs lethal if he... No, he does not. Because again, Trevor can just... Oh no, this is lethal. Okay, yeah. So Trevor, unfortunately, is going to find the edge of the sword here with a Phantasmal Image off the top, which copies Thalia's Lieutenant. Oh no. It's going to copy Reflector Mage? Do I have the life total wrong? I don't think I do. I think that's still enough. I still think that's going to do it. Yeah, that guy by himself is gonna get you. All right, so yeah, Trevor Stevens falls to double Reflector Mage. Um, yeah, no removal spell in hand. Not that he can cast at least. Yeah, you got it, buddy. So Josh Sellers advances to 2-1 here with a 2-0 over Trevor